Coming up on Focal Point. The bridge on Farm Lane is getting a whole new look.
Have you ever wondered why it's so easy to walk the sidewalks of Michigan State, even in this blistering cold weather?
And Tom Izzo got the best birthday present on Tuesday night.
One of MSU's dining halls is moving across campus, and it means more than just a new location.
Focal Point starts now. Hello and welcome to Focal Point News. I'm Megan Samp.
And I'm Michael Savarinsky. Today is February 2nd and our first show of 2024.
Just a month into the new year, we have lots of news to talk about from around East Lansing.
The opening of new businesses, Spartan victories, heavy snows, and campus updates.
We are also coming up on the year anniversary of the deadly shooting here on the Michigan State campus. That's where we find Focal Point's Delaney Rogers. She's live outside the Crossroads Food Court in the International Center. Delaney?
Thanks, Megan and Michael. I'm here at the International Center where they have a food court, which is just one of over 10 dining halls MSU students can choose from. But out of those 10, one has more meaning than the rest. The MSU Union will never be the same.
I remember for that night, we are really for the Valentine.
Grilling for Valentine's Day.
And then Brian is a very good student with me. He's a very nice kid.
Brian was a regular. A very nice kid, she says. It was just like any other night last year for Tonoine, cooking the students' favorite chicken tenders in the roost. Then, the unimaginable. The gunman comes through this door, starts shooting, and one student died. Brian Frazier. He was standing right next to two. 8 students were shot that night in 2 different locations and 3 died. Brian, Alexandria Berner, and Ariel Anderson.
Just 5 minutes when he come back with me,
Brian was helping Toe in the kitchen.
he got shot next to me. So in the moment I saw him fell,
She couldn't believe what had happened.
I really didn't know that he's shooting. I just thinking like he hungry or something. So when he fell, I sit down with him. And then I asked him, Brian, are you okay?
Brian did not make it. That was a year ago. Plaster walls have replaced the entrance to the roost, shielding students from having access to a room that now, but today, stands still. It has a new home, and Toe is ready to move on.
I think hopefully the root always like the student will love the root more than before, like Union. They will feel comfortable coming in and remember Union. Some of them come back here, work with me, I'm glad. But make me remember Brian a lot.
The new location reminds Toe of Brian, because the dining hall that used to be a relaxing spot for students has moved to the International Center 2 miles away.
I think that's an opportunity for the student. They can have the same like tender, they can use the combo.
She says giving students an opportunity to return to the roost and the support MSU provided encourages her to stay at MSU.
I'm really thankful for all the MSU support. Without that support, I don't think I can stand right here to do more.
Support from both MSU and her Roost family.
I'll never forget, never.
It's great to hear the Roost is trying to offer a sense of normalcy with keeping the same menu and the same staff. We hope as the anniversary of the shooting approaches, they continue to feel supported. Back to you in the studio.
Yeah, thanks, Delaney. We sure will never forget. And we'll want you to join us for a special edition of Focal Point on Friday, February 16th. We'll be looking back at the stories that have defined us over the last year and how we're moving forward. The February 13th Memorial Show, Friday, February 16th at 11 a.m.
With another campus update on our radar, you've probably found yourself leaving a bit earlier for class this semester. Focal Point's Isley Herschel talked to students about the construction on Farm Lane that took many students by surprise.
A new bridge over the Red Cedar will help take students wherever they want to go on campus, but it's not there yet.
It's just like kind of super inconvenient because it's like right where like the bus I need to take goes like every day of the week. So
In fact, Andy Krause hasn't been able to figure it out yet.
I've been late to that class almost every day.
Andy relies on the bus, but the new routes have been confusing, especially for students like Avery Guzman.
On the app, it's different. Like it says it's the normal route, but then you get on and it's just driving somewhere completely different.
Farm Road is the main artery through campus, from Grand River to Mount Hope. It handles hundreds of cars, bikes, buses, and thousands of students walking to classes. The construction of a new multicultural center and now the replacement of the bridge has Farm Road looking more like a dirt canyon.
It makes me late for class. It's just kind of annoying, but it's fine.
A CATA bus driver told me he tries to get to his stops on time, but on-campus traffic makes that difficult.
I'm waiting like 30 minutes for a bus.
Like anything, students will start figuring out new routes and get used to the inconvenience of all of this. And they'll have to. The new bridge to a smooth commute won't be ready until next summer. On Michigan State's campus, Isley Herschel, Focal Point News.
The transit app does not yet have updated route information, but accurate routes can be found on CATA's website at cata.org.
Construction isn't the only thing making it difficult to get around on campus. The snow at times has made it tough to get from class to class. Focal Point's Deshaun Johnson jumped aboard one of the machines that clear the miles of sidewalks here and takes us for a ride.
Walking in the snow and ice can really bring you down.
I'm not gonna lie, it halts your mood.
And for students like Marcelo Chola, it's even worse when you're walking to class.
Snow in your face, wind everywhere, you're cold, you're late to class, you get really upset, it just throws you off.
But thanks to people like Matthew Bailey,
you want to hop in?
Walking to class becomes less upsetting. Matthew works for the infrastructure and planning facilities of MSU, and when the snow arrives, his crew stays prepared.
We got teams that are on call 24/7, all winter long.
See, Matthew has always been a fan of the snow.
Yeah, I love the snow. I used to snowmobile a lot.
And while he doesn't get to drive a snowmobile, he does get to drive a toolcat. And although it isn't that fast,
They don't go too fast, honestly.
Matthew enjoys the challenge.
I really liked the challenge.
Well, we know that Matthew enjoys his job clearing the sidewalks and making big snowballs. That begs the question, how much do the students appreciate it?
I thank him because I don't want to be slipping.
Josh Myers enjoys jogging in the snow for the scenery, and for him, it is huge to have clear sidewalks.
Having clear sidewalks without ice with salt on them, I mean, it's really pretty huge as a student.
The same goes for Caitlin Martin, who has to walk to all of her classes.
Definitely, I definitely appreciate the pathway actually being shoveled.
And although Matthew doesn't usually hear the praise in person, usually because of the loud toolcat, he does take pride in keeping students safe on their walks to class.
A lot of pride here to say that, that kids are able to get to class.
On Michigan State's snowy campus, I'm Deshaun Johnson, Focal Point News.
I think it's safe to say that thanks to the IPF employees, we are staying on both feet when walking to class. Fingers crossed that we've officially moved out of the cold spell. Karina has this week's forecast coming up. And did he or didn't he? She'll tell us if the king of all groundhogs saw his shadow this morning.
And later, yet another chicken restaurant has found its way to East Lansing. Can you handle the heat, Michael? I'm getting hungry. All coming up. We'll be right back.
It's no surprise that with every growing election season, our phones become one of our primary sources to getting information. However, there are a few things to consider before trusting what you see online or receive over text. Unfortunately, people are using the election season as a prime time to scam voters. Some scammers may be posing as pollsters. They may try to steal your information, so beware of hyperlinks, don't answer unknown numbers, prize offers are a red flag, and if you do bump into this issue, report it to the Better Business Bureau. Scammers may also pose as political campaigners asking you to donate money to their cause, otherwise known as spoofing.
And if you receive a call from someone saying you're not registered to vote, registration cannot be done via phone or text. If you are concerned your registration hasn't gone through, check with your local clerk's office.
If you're registering to vote, you may either go online, in person,
I hope you register to vote.
or mail in.
Always be cautious. Don't give out your credit card information, your social security number, or any other personal information. And remember to vote safely this November.
To Focal Point. Mr. Groundhog made his yearly appearance this morning to predict if winter would stick around a little bit longer or not. But we're sure Karina Prieto already knows that. She's live at the weather wall with not only the Groundhog's prediction, but with her own forecast. Karina, did I see the sun peek out this morning?
Yes, good morning. We may have seen the sun peek through the clouds, but we'll get back to that in just a moment. This morning, Puxatawny Phil, to my surprise, crawled out of his hole without seeing his shadow, which means an early spring. I don't know about you, but I'm hoping he's right this year. Now, the West Coast is experiencing some chillier weather for them and even some rainy activity, which, as a California native, I can tell you they probably aren't handling it very well. However, Florida is still in their eternal summer with temperatures in the mid-70s. I know you may be feeling a bit jealous up here, but let's get closer to home. Chicago, Green Bay, and Detroit are sitting consistently in the mid to high 30s, with Indianapolis area reaching the 40s. This pattern we're seeing is extremely rare for what is usually the coldest part of winter here in the Great Lakes region. Let's take a look at the next 7 days. Temperatures well above normal, and look at next Friday, we have potential of reaching 50 degrees. Just weeks ago, we dipped into negative temperatures, so maybe this gives you something to look forward to. So happy Groundhog Day, but remember, Puxatawny Phil, since 1889, has only been correct 39% of the time. But fingers crossed that he is this year. That's all we have for this week's weather report. Back to you, Megan and Michael.
Thanks, Karina. With all this cold weather, East Lansing needed something to heat things up a bit.
How about some chicken? Focal Point's Kelsey Woodall has the story of what yet another chicken restaurant means for downtown East Lansing.
It comes from California. So how did it wind up here in East Lansing?
We've always wanted to be in a college town, and we thought East Lansing would be the best one to start with.
Dave's Hot Chicken has landed in mid-Michigan. It's the 6th location in Michigan and the 1st in downtown East Lansing.
Comes with Dave's sauce, pickles, and kale slaw. Is all of that okay on there for you?
Yes, thank you.
Siobhan Kapoor has been to 4 other locations. He wanted to be first in line for this one.
So I'm about to go right now, go to Meijer, buy a chair. As soon as I get that chair, I'm gonna, bang the slider, post up, and that's it. I got probably around 20 hours, 22 hours ahead of me.
Dave's isn't the only chicken restaurant close to the Michigan State campus. Cane's opened just last year, and on their first day, the line was from the corner all the way around the block. Dave's is only a few hundred steps away, but that doesn't bother Aaron Van Curren.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great competition. Cane's is a good concept as well, but we think everybody's competition. So, but we're not here to take anybody's business. We're just here to, share in the business.
And this isn't his first rodeo. Chicken has been in his blood for over 20 years.
We used to be Buffalo Wild Wings franchisees. We actually found this concept in the early stages of development, went out and tried the product and knew that this was a concept that was going to be great for us. So we decided to sell all our interest in the other concepts and just focus on Dave's Hot Chicken.
And by the way, Siobhan didn't have to wait in line with his chair at all.
I ended up coming around, I want to say 7:30, chilled for a bit, did a class, hit my Zoom class, then came in, still got here first, so happy about it.
Javon says the one slider, one tender combo is his favorite, and he'll no doubt be back.
Guest 902, please.
After all, he is Dave's #1 fan. In downtown East Lansing, I'm Kelsey Woodall, Focal Point News.
Well, I know I'm going to want to pay Dave a visit here soon.
And good news for those who have yet to have a Dave's Hot Chicken land in their town. The owner's goal is to open 22 more in the state. Speaking of goals, MSU Athletics reached a lot of their own this past weekend. Focal Point's Miles Oates is standing by live in our newsroom with the weekend sports. And it starts with a milestone. Miles?
Thanks, guys. Tuesday night was a big game at the Breslin for a number of reasons. One, it was against MSU's rival, the Michigan Wolverines. And it was Coach Tom Izzo's birthday. And he was going for win number 700. The game was close in the first half, but the Spartans pulled away in the second. Jaden Akins had a career-high 23 points, and Tyson Walker finished with 12. But the most important number of the night was 700. And it looks like the signs were already printed. As soon as the game ended, it seemed everybody got their hands on a 700-win sign, including the players. It was a full-on celebration on the floor as fans, players, and Izzo's family gathered around him. Afterward, Coach Izzo looked back.
And so many coaches have changed, and I've just kind of hung in there, and that's what happens when you hang in there. I mean, 700 wins is pretty impressive even to me, but 700 wins at the same school, that means a lot to me. That's probably what means the most to me.
The Spartans tip off at the Breslin tomorrow at 5:30 as they take on the Maryland Terrapins. The women's team has also been dominant at the Breslin Center. They're 10-1 at home and 16-5 on the season under first-year head coach Robin Freilich. On Saturday, the Spartans hosted Michigan and rolled the Wolverines, 82-61. Dee Hageman led the scoring for the green and white with 20 points and going perfect from the line. And captain Julia Arolt was right behind her with 19 points and 9 rebounds. They look to continue the momentum into Piscataway as they took on Rutgers Tuesday and did just that. Matching their point total from Saturday, the Spartans won 82-64 with 5 double-digit point performances. Abby Kimmel and Theron Halick each had 16, and MSU is hot under Freilich as they look to get back to the NCAA tournament for the first time in 3 years. Weekend Sports, back to you guys in the studio.
Look forward to in the Breslin the next few days with the men on Saturday and women at home on Monday. Excuse me.
Keeping with the theme of excitement, Sunday the Lions took on the 49ers for their first NFC Championship game since 1992. The Lions were over 2,000 miles away in San Francisco, California, but that didn't stop the fans from pouring onto Ford Field and cheering them on. Focal Point Zoe Ruffin was in attendance to experience the fun.
You hear that? Do you hear that? Excitement is an understatement for the Honolulu Blue and Silver fans after a touchdown early on for the Lions against the 49ers. While some fans were concentrated on what was happening on the field, others were focused on who didn't make it to see this game.
My grandfather, I wish he was here. Like, this is what he lived for. Like, oh my God, this is why I'm here. This is why I came back to the D.
My granddad was born the year that they won the first time, and he didn't make it to see this.
While the Lions are 2,400 miles away, taking on the 49ers in the first NFC Championship game since 1992. The fans here at Ford Field are fired up. They know exactly what's on the line. The franchise's first ever trip to the Super Bowl.
The Adams, look, you hear it.
Detroit, baby! Let's go!
Yeah! You hear that? That's Detroit Nation, baby.
It's hot and fun! Yeah! I'm hot! I'm sweating!
The turnout for the watch party was worth every sweat.
It's a charity event. It's very important for the city of Detroit, everybody around, all the suburbs, surrounding areas. You know, everybody might not be from here, but today, we all from Detroit. Detroit Lions, all about Detroit Lions today.
The confidence of the fans was flying everywhere in the building.
It's just an amazing feeling, you know, that we really finna go all the way.
The Lions ended up falling just short of their first ever Super Bowl, but the fans were still pumped up about their most successful season in over 30 years.
And we made it this far, baby. We all the way there. Even if we don't make it all the way, we made it.
And the fans are ready to sell out the stadium to support them on.
Yeah, let's go, Detroit. Let's go.
Reporting from Ford Field, Zoe Ruffin, Focal Point News.
The Lions finished off this season 14-6. Can't wait to see what the next season will bring to Detroit.
Lions, tigers, and dogs? An at-home bakery has made its start in DeWitt, Michigan, except the customers are a little hairier than normal. I decided to check it out for myself. Here's the story.
A new business.
Those are just cheddar cheese biscuits.
Marking its territory.
Just like slam into ya.
Just a dog and her owner.
So Riley and I were kind of grieving together over the loss of our other dog.
Searching for what comes next.
And I stumbled across the dog treat business. and that's kind of where it all fell into play. Connie Rao and her dog Riley,
Come here, Riley.
the co-founders of Joyful Paws Bakery. We just kind of, narrow it down. And even though the treats look delicious, Those are for people.
Best customer at this bakery is a dog.
Joyful Paws Bakery was founded last April. It was a way for Connie and Riley to bond. She's my taste tester, so as I'm baking and dehydrating and trying to prepare the treats, she tastes everything, so I know that, at least she likes them. And likes them, she
you go.
does.
Yeah.
A home kitchen
Part of the family.
has become a doghouse.
Come here.
But at the end of the day, Peanut butter treat is very it's popular. Riley's opinion that matters. Come on, eat your treat. Every time I go to different events, I have a picture of Riley that I take, and I put her right on my table.
Joyful Paws Bakery has a variety of flavors and can be found on Facebook for more information.
Looks like I know where I'm going next for my pup sweet treats. Thank you, Michael, for that recommendation.
My pleasure. Well, that's all the time we have for this week's edition of Focal Point. I'm Michael Savarinsky.
And I'm Megan Samp. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.